Montana State's historic season will continue into 2025 as the Bobcats face North Dakota State on January 6th for the national championship. It was a season that started with a come from behind win over an FBS opponent, and they hope ends with their fourth national title. Let's look back at how they got there. Montana State opened the football season with a thrilling Week 0 win over New Mexico. The Bobcats trailed entering the fourth quarter, then got their ground game going, scoring 21 unanswered points to defeat the Lobos 35-31. Running back Adam Jones's 93-yard touchdown run with 4:35 left in the game was the second longest play from scrimmage in Montana State history. On the next drive, Scott Humphrey found the end zone with 10 seconds remaining for the game-winning touchdown. It was head coach Brent Vigen's first win over an FBS opponent and Montana State's first since 2006. Week 2 was dominated by the defense. The Bobcats held the Bison to 41 yards of offense through the first three quarters in the 31-7 win over Utah Tech. Gold Rush at Montana State was all about the Cats' rushing attack. Scott Humphrey racked up 110 yards and 2 touchdowns in the Bobcats' win over Maine. Non-conference play concluded with a 52-13 win over Mercyhurst and quarterback Tommy Mellott throwing 3 touchdowns for the second time in his career. Big Sky play kicked off in Pocatello. It was a slow start offensively for the Cats, then Scott Humphrey got going. He ended the afternoon rushing for 159 yards and 3 touchdowns in the 37-17 win over Idaho State. Montana State celebrated homecoming with their 6th straight win, a 55-17 victory over Northern Colorado. Week 7 brought the Bobcats their first top 10 matchup of the season. The leading rushing offense in the Big Sky put up 361 yards against Idaho, while quarterback Tommy Mellott accounted for 4 total touchdowns in the 38-7 win. The Bobcats combined for over 1,600 yards of offense in their next 3 games, wins over Portland State, Eastern Washington, and Sacramento State. Head coach Brent Vigen also secured his 40th career win, becoming the first Big Sky coach to do so in his first 50 games. He would go on to win the Eddie Robinson Award for Coach of the Year. The de facto Big Sky Championship was an instant classic between UC Davis and Montana State. Trailing by 22 with 7 minutes remaining, the Aggies scored 20 unanswered points, recovered an onside kick, and were a 2-point conversion away from potentially forcing overtime against the Cats. With 34 seconds left, Mikado Riley intercepted Miles Hastings' pass on the 2-point attempt to seal the win for the Bobcats. The win secured Montana State at least a share of the Big Sky title. The Great Divide Trophy will live in Bozeman for the next year, after Montana State defeated Montana 34-11 in the Brawl of the Wild. With the win, the Bobcats clinched the Big Sky Championship outright. They also earned the number 1 overall seed in the playoffs, the first number 1 seed for the Big Sky since 2009. After receiving a first-round bye, Montana State improved to 13-0 behind a career performance for Big Sky Offensive Player of the Year and All-American Tommy Mellott. The QB threw for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns as the Bobcats cruised to a 49-17 victory over UT Martin to advance to the FCS quarterfinals. The quarterfinals were a Week 7 rematch with Idaho. Big Sky Freshman of the Year and Freshman All-American Adam Jones ran for 4 touchdowns, and the Bobcats ran away with a 52-19 win to secure their spot in the semis. On an unseasonably warm December day in Bozeman, Tommy Mellott played his final game in Bobcat Stadium and cemented his place in Montana State lore. The All-American ran for 2 touchdowns and threw for another in the 31-17 win over South Dakota. Brody Greby's late fumble recovery sealed the victory for the Cats, who will face North Dakota State in the national championship on January 6th. It is the Bobcats' second trip to Frisco under head coach Brent Vigen. They are looking for their first national title since 1984 and a 16-0 finish for the first time in school history.